Okay, so the reasons why we give references, okay, to make your work accurate, more credible, to acknowledge others' work, okay, to show your knowledge, to show that your work is up to date and so on and so forth, okay. Should note down the references when you see them. I was just doing this before the class. Okay, when you have to give the reference, if you use somebody else's word directly, you have to use the reference. If you are using somebody else's figures and tables, you have to use the reference. And I told you, if you took the data and made your own table and figures, still you have to give the reference. Okay, the reference goes with the caption of the figure and table. If you use somebody else's content and rephrased it, you write it in your own words, still you have to give the reference. Okay. If you have prepared a summary or of somebody else's work, okay, still you have to give the reference. In all these cases, the reference is necessary. When the reference is not important, when a thing is considered general knowledge, okay, that you feel that everybody knows about it, or at least your readers know about it, okay, and some of the conditions of what we call as general knowledge. Basically, if you have read somebody else's work and they are putting that thing without reference and it has already been published, that means it's general knowledge. Okay, I can quote it as general knowledge as well. Okay, so all the references which are used in the report should be in the list, and all the references which are in the list should be used in the report. Okay, so there must be two parts of every reference. One citation, I call it citation, which is in the report, and the other part is the detail, which is in the list. Okay, so for example, you can use one of these methods for putting the reference and the citation. This one is the numeric. This one is called the Harvard referencing, which goes according to the author's name. Okay, and we discussed some of the points related to that. But if you are using the numeric system, the list should be ordered 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. One point which I did not mention earlier: if you are using this type of referencing, this type of citation, then your list is like this. You don't need any numbers here. You don't need any numbers. Okay. So which reference will come at the top? Tell me. I have 20 references. Which one will be at the top?
The first.
Which first one?
That I mentioned in the report.
The first one which I mentioned in the report. In this case, not necessary. Or no at all. Okay. This list, if you are using this style of citation, the list is ordered according to the alphabetical order. Okay. So A will come first and then B and C. Okay. You don't have to do this. Okay. Microsoft Word already has the option. Okay. So after we finish this, we will look at different options which we can use in words. So just remind me, I will show you how to sort the references according to alphabets. Okay. So in this case, it is alphabetical order. For Harvard referencing, the references in the list are in the alphabetical order. Okay. In this case, we adopt what you were saying earlier. Okay. So the first reference is the one which appears first in the report. Reference number 1 is the one which we used first in the report. Okay. And then number 2 and number 3. So even the first one can start with any letter. Okay. But since it was used first in the report, so it will appear first in the list as well with a number. Okay. With a number. Okay. The number which I have already given. Clear? Okay. So this is what I did not mention earlier, and there is no, for referencing, there is no 1.1 and 1.2, okay? In any case, okay? We mentioned that for headings, we use heading number 1, underline heading number 1.2, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, you can do this. Tables and figures, equations, you can do this. Table 1.1, 1.2, figure 1.1, 1.2. You can do this. For references, never. It's always continuous. References are always continuous. Single digit or single order. 1, 2, 3, 4 till the end. Even if you are using 150 references or 1000 references. Okay? There's no 1 point something here. Okay? There's no decimal system here. Okay, so if you are using the alphabetical system meaning this one, the Harvard referencing, meaning where you are using the name of the author in the citation. Okay, so in the alphabetical system, I personally like it because then you don't have to worry about the where you are putting the reference. So I'm writing the report. Okay, and later on, I think that this paragraph should not be here. I should remove it. And that paragraph has 2 references. So when you remove the paragraph with the references, the numbering of the rest of the references will be now changed. And I have to change it. Okay. Again, later on I will show you how to do it using the softwares. Okay. MS Word can do it, and there are other softwares as well which can do it for you. But you still have to refresh it and it can mess up. Sometimes it messes up. Okay? So, but if you are using alphabetical system, you are putting the author's name. Wherever you put, no, there is no problem. I am talking about the text of the report, not the list. List is as it is. Okay? In the report, I took one reference out. I am using the author's name. Nothing will happen to any other reference. Okay? So this is the advantage. Another advantage, that the author could be famous. Right? Like me. Huh? At least not 20 people know me, right? Okay? So you may recognize that a work is done by somebody in the same field. Okay, that if they are using this reference, so this equation or this statement is authentic. Okay, or in my case, you will see my name and you will say, okay, throw it out. Huh? Right? You will see this. Okay. So once it happened that a paper came to me for review. Okay, and usually when they send it for review, they hide the author's name. They take it out. Okay, so they put the name of the model. They invented their own model. Okay, so one of them was my friend, and he was sitting in the next room. Okay, so I looked at the name of the author's name was not there. So I looked at the name of the model, and then I looked at where it was developed, and then I called it using my office phone. That somebody has stolen your work. Said who? There's some guy, Fox. Said he's my supervisor. So anyway, so with the name you can recognize. The point is, with the name you can recognize the author and you can say whether it's credible or not. So these are the advantages of the Harvard system. Okay. So in the numerical system, the numbers are appearing in the order of their appearance. Okay, the first reference appears, it is reference number 1 and so on. Okay, that's what I already mentioned. Okay, yeah. So if you are putting the references in the list, in this case, I've already shown you some examples and we talked about it as well. So if you are using the numerical system, then each reference begins with a number, the number which you have used in the report, reference number 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, and the year of publication comes in the end. Okay, when the paper was published, it comes in the end. If you are using the Harvard method, then the first thing will come what? The name. Okay, the thing which you have mentioned should come first, right? Okay, I am looking for the author's name, it should be in the first. Same thing here, I am looking for reference number 1, So the first thing which you are mentioning in the list is the reference number. If I am using the Harvard system, I am looking for the name then. Okay, so the first thing should come is the name. And the second thing is what? What is the second thing in the Harvard system? What is the second thing? The name and the year of publication. Okay, so these two things come first. Okay, if you are using the Harvard system for citation, in the reference list, you have the author's name and then the year and then the rest of the things. In the numerical system, you have the number and then obviously the author's name and the title and everything. Year comes at the end. Year comes at the end. And another important thing is the page numbers. Okay, especially for books. They're putting references from books. The books can have 500 pages. Okay, so we need to put page numbers as well. It's mentioned here. Okay, so keep it in mind. Okay, so plagiarism. What is plagiarism? Okay, I asked this question earlier. Some of you said copying someone. Okay, but in the last lecture I told you can copy. You can copy paste. But what are the requirements if you are doing copy paste?
Permission from the author.
Permission from the author, that is only for the figures. For the figures you need the permission. It didn't come in the quiz, right?
Famous quotation. Famous quotation.
It's a famous quotation, and how do you then put it in the report? Copy and paste and?
I quote and I interpret quotes.
But you have to put something with it, right?
Copying something without.
No, if you copy paste something,
Without
then
reference.
how do you do it?
Without reference.
No, with reference. If it's a famous quotation, you don't need it, by the way. Like it's very famous. Yeah. Everybody is using it. Time is money, for example. Okay, so you don't need to put my name in. I didn't invent it. But nobody knows who said it, right? So no need. But you can copy and paste something directly, and you have to put the reference. Okay. Anything, I can talk about anything, not famous quotation or general knowledge, no. Anything. You can copy directly from a paper and put it there. Okay. You have to put the reference. But since you are copying and pasting, you have to put something else, which is what?
Your idea.
Huh?
Your idea.
No.
No,
With the statement. You put the reference and quotation marks. Okay. You have to put the quotation marks. Okay. So copy and paste is allowed to some extent, obviously. You don't start a chapter with a quotation mark and end with a quotation mark. The whole chapter is copy and paste. Don't I put the reference? Doesn't work like this. Okay. One sentence, maybe 1 line, 2 lines. That's it. Okay. Copy and paste directly, whether it's famous or not famous. Doesn't matter. Put it with the quotation mark. Okay. And the reference is still required. Reference is still required. Okay. If the quotation is very, very famous, no reference. Okay. Use it as it is. So plagiarism is not copying and pasting. The point was plagiarism is not copying and pasting. So it is defined as use somebody else's words or ideas as if they were your own. You are posing or pretending that it's my idea. Okay. So you copy and paste, it's still allowed, but with conditions. You can take somebody else's data and use with reference. You can take somebody else's work and put it in your own words, still with reference. Okay. If you are putting somebody else's data and you make new figures and new tables with it, without a reference, even your new tables and figures are plagiarism. Okay, because without reference, it will give the message that the data belongs to me. It doesn't. Alright? Okay? So plagiarism is pretending something is yours when it is not. Okay? This is what it means. Copying, pasting doesn't have anything to do with it. Okay? So the following are seen as plagiarism. Okay, they are examples of plagiarism. To steal or borrow another person's work. I don't know how you borrow. Seriously. Steal. Okay. So stealing means that somebody gave me a paper for review and I put it with my own name. That is plagiarism. Okay, even if it is not published, not mine. Okay. To pay another author person right to, you know about this, right? Okay. More than me, unfortunately. Okay. To copy directly from a source without referencing the original source. This is what we usually think. I use something, I didn't put the reference. This is what I just explained to you. Even if you are putting it in your own words, if you change the arrangement, doesn't matter. It's not your own. Original source should be mentioned. To use somebody else's ideas and build on them without giving credit to the original idea. Okay, so somebody invented a new material. Now I'm going to use that material in building construction. Okay, so when I talk about that material, I have to give credit to that person who invented it. Okay, so I'm building on somebody else's idea, but still I have to give credit. Okay, like we have, I did one paper on noise pollution, and we use a method, an equation, which we use in traffic flow, not noise pollution. Okay, so when I took the equation, I had to put the reference that this equation is used in traffic flow and it was given by that person. Okay, when I use it for noise pollution, the equation changes, obviously, but the original equation was that one. I have to give the reference. So even if you build on somebody else's idea, you have to give the reference. To put it something in your own word without putting the reference. To present false data. Okay, I had you call it senior design, right? Senior design. I had a senior design group in Pakistan, and they worked very hard in the lab. They did everything, finished. Last day of submission, they were there, they were living in the hostel, and when they presented the report, the data, the graph was not showing the trend which it was supposed to. Okay, it was supposed to go like this and this. It was going here and there. I told them like 2-3 times, this is not the graph, this is not the graph. They said, doctor, where is the original graph? Like how it should look like? I told them this. After 10 minutes, the graph was ready. It was 4 o'clock, I had to go home. I didn't question them. Said, okay, fine. But that is also plagiarism. Huh? Okay, let me make some data on my own. Okay, the worst form of plagiarism is to do one of these intentionally. Okay, to pretend somebody else's, this is the definition of plagiarism, pretending this is my work when it's not yours. To buy a piece of written work from somebody, okay, it happens now, even in the literature, somebody else writes and you give them money and you publish it with your own name, it happens. Okay, you know this. And to write something word for word from a source without acknowledging the source. Okay, so these are some examples of the plagiarism. Okay, but plagiarism can happen unintentionally as well, meaning what? You rewrote somebody else's, so you put it in your own words, okay, or you use small sections of another person's writing without acknowledging it as a source. So say you thought that it's my own words now, okay, so I can use it without the reference, but this should not be done as well, okay, because you think that I learned from it and now I'm writing it on my own, so this should not be considered as plagiarism, but it is plagiarism, okay, but it's not that serious because you don't know actually, okay. Okay, what is the bibliography? Bibliography means the list of references. Okay, bibliography means the list of references which you give at the end. Okay, so it should have the complete details of the references. Okay, and yeah, so we use another term for it as well. But in the bibliography, in some reports you will find both list of references and bibliography, both. Okay, so the difference between them is The list of references are the references which are used in the report. Bibliography, if you're finding both, if you find both bibliography and the list of references, then the difference between them is that bibliography is for extra knowledge of the reader. Okay? So if somebody wants to read more on this subject, these are some useful books from where they can find more material. Okay? So usually if you have both, again, if you have both in one report, then bibliography is for the knowledge, for increasing your knowledge. Okay? So in bibliography you will put things which give basic information or basic knowledge about that subject. Okay? Whether you have used them or not, doesn't matter. You can put extra things in the bibliography. Okay? But this is only the case when you see both of them in the report. Okay? If there is only one heading at the end, only one list at the end, whether they call them bibliography or list of references, it means the same. Okay? But if you find both, that means bibliography is some of the things which are written in the bibliography, they may not have been used in the report. Okay? Clear? So in that case, then bibliography will only have sources from which you can get the background information. Okay? So that you can understand about the topic. Okay. And this is what I mentioned. Okay. So we stop here, and next time I will